You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
Welcome back to Hardware is Forever. I am Chris Vintliff. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech, and we are continuing our series on the 14 points of management from Dr. W. Edward Deming. And Jay, today we're on point 5, which is constantly improve the system of production and service. And I think this is interesting for a few reasons. One of them is some of these other points we've talked about, you kind of have to recalibrate your thinking. Like, oh, well, tell me more about what he means. This one on its surface or on its face seems really obvious. Yes, of course, we should be constantly improving our products and services. But I think there's an interesting question in there but are you aware of what needs to be improved? Are you in a culture of improvement where we're kind of always saying it's not good enough? And is that the appropriate thing? Or are you just tinkering sort of mindlessly? So I'm wondering, as we start this conversation, what resonates with you right off the bat with that? Or what sparks your mind when you're seeing Deming's point, which he made number 5, so it's high on the list for him, to improve your products and services?
To get good quality and to get good profitability in the market that you're in, you have to improve the system of production and service. And I think that's really, really key, because there's other things that you think about you can cut costs on. And that's not really going to get you too far. You know, you can cut costs on labor, you can cut costs on facilities, you can try to shop, the cheapest price on some commodities out there, but is that going to get your organization going in a direction? Is that going to get your people working in a particular direction? I don't think it is. And I think, management really has to take a different approach to it. And I think one thing is that we need to have a statistical method of thinking, and use the data to drive improvement, not just I got a feeling or I got intuition or anything like that. Like, the data needs to be there, and the improvements, if there are any changes that are implemented, the improvements are approved by data. So initially, if we do have to improve, what do we do first? And I think what Deming states and kind of guides us is you attack the special cause of extreme variation in the process first. There's going to be common issues here and there in particular processes, but don't attack that. Attack any odd variations, any odd type of visual defects or any odd type of manufacturing defects that really kind of don't make sense and are not known. Kind of focus on those first, and then the common issues you can focus on. So I think the extreme variation, the extreme outliers, focus on those first. Make your whole processes tighter, and then and then focus on the common issues. So what does that mean? First, bring the processes under control, then improve the process. So if our processes are not even defined properly, they're not in control, they're not documented, they're not trained, well, then you can't improve anything. So first, bring the process under control, and then collect the data, and then improve the process. And because there are so many touch points in any type of production process or a service process, it's just not one person doing it. It is a group of talented individuals working together that have different skills, different approaches, and different experience, making you successful and your customer successful. So it cannot just be done in silos. It has to have teamwork. So bring the team together, talk to them, brainstorm, do root cause analysis, and then the next thing is implement the Deming Cycle, which is plan, do, study, act, and then just keep on going round and round. And there are different variations of this out there right now. People, and depending on type of continuous improvement plan you make, but essentially it's just a cycle, and even in agile development, anything that you want to talk about is first ship, obtain feedback, iterate, then ship again. But same thing, plan, do, study, and act. And along with this whole thing, if we keep on, like we talk about, exponential or building on top, like, you do one thing, you tackle one thing, Great. You build on top of that, you build on top of that, you build on top of that. And soon our process is so tight that we get to a point where we're accidentally building good product. That's the goal, because everything is just working together. We're collecting data, we're doing it now. Is this harder said than done? Of course. That's why not everybody does it. But again, it's management's responsibility to, what do we focus on? How do we focus? How do we become better? How do we become more profitable? How do we gain more market share? And it is through the improvement of the system of production and service, rather than just beating everybody on price. And then, even if you do beat somebody on price, how do you keep the business? How do you make that profitable? This is the process of doing it. It just cannot be haphazard improvements. It cannot be reactionary. It cannot be firefighting. It has to be a really proactive methodology, and again, planned out. Just like in Deming Cycle, it has to be a planned activity to improve your organization.
Wow. I love this idea of systematizing, kind of organizing the process to bring them under control. What you mentioned, kind of look at the data. The data needs to be driving decisions, not just a gut feeling or whatever. And I feel like that gut feeling is what leads to constant tinkering. So I love what you're sharing there. But what kind of data do you think that we need to be analyzing or looking at, or what kind of data is going to shed light on this whole thing where our systems need tightening up?
Well, I mean, I think everybody has different methodologies of going about it, depending on the manufacturing process, the product that you're building. But you're looking at you want to start out as you want to look at real defects and look at the different, the wastes that Toyota has lined out. What is the biggest one is remove defects. And that's the number one waste. So, if I was to start somewhere, and if I was to start, and we have implementing this type of Deming cycle, I would start with scrap and defects, and then work my way into other things. Reducing scrap and defects, typically extreme variation leads to that. Identifying that, tracking that, and then putting this plan, do, study, act cycle or process into place should help us out, and has helped us out significantly to bring our processes under more and more control and reduce waste within the process.
Do you feel like there's a tension between systematizing this stuff, and what's your then process for like custom or tailoring? So I can see if it's like, yeah, we make these widgets all day, every day. We get that perfect. But what about the situation where we've got this really interesting outline kind of thing? Obviously, we should have a process that still accommodates that. But how do we, I guess, stay innovative, stay adventurous, be willing to fail, and also feel like we're in a system that is driven towards perfection and excellence?
So I think that's a good question. I think, to a certain extent, you have to be open to new processes and new services and new products, so you don't get out innovated. But I think there's also a way that we can put guardrails on there, that we don't reach too far for it. And even if we do reach too far, I think we just need to be clear internally and with our customers that, hey, this is going to take some time. There's going to be this cycle, plan, do, study, act cycle that's going to have to iterate to get us to this particular point. Are you willing to participate in that journey with us or not? And then also, as leadership, share that with the entire team. Is like, look, we're implementing this new capability, this new service, this new product. It's going to take some time to implement. Are you willing to, work at it? It's going to suck for a little bit of time. It's going to be painful, but are you willing to work at it and commit to this cycle of improvement to get to where we need to go? And I think that's where we need to get customer buy-in, and we have to get leadership buy-in and the team's buy-in before we do a lot of different things that's outside of our, let's say, proven processes or sweet spot, or robust, matured processes.
Which, again, comes to leadership, right? Whenever we're kind of adventuring around or outside of our sweet spot, there's going to be tension inside of a leadership team of, this and that. So I think that you're making good points as the CEO about kind of where that vision needs to be. What do you think? This can be different for everybody, obviously, but especially maybe with Amtech, like what is the time and resource investment been required for that? So I'm thinking about the plan, do, study, act. Is that a 3-week process? Is that a 3-hour thing? Like, how do you get that to be systematized so that as part of your just normal operations or part of your normal production, a function of this is that, and we can expect it to take these 2 people and that amount of time so that we can then take action? Or is it not that scientific and elegant? Is it a little bit more ad hoc?
I think at any organization, you just have to start where you're at. If you give you any prerequisites to say, hey, I can't improve this process because of XYZ reasons, I don't have this resource, whether it's capital, whether it is talent, whether it is time, it doesn't matter, but you just have to start where you're at. And you have to have the cycle implemented. And if one of the parts of the cycle don't get executed, you're not going to get the results and you're not going to get things that you want. So plan, do, study, act. And I think, fundamentally, just like, to have any type of organization or a business, traditionally things have changed, but still you need a roof, you need 4 walls, you need a door, you need infrastructure, you need internet, all these type of things. And I think one of those core processes that every single organization needs, and maybe the most powerful core process that really keeps the organization going, is this process or commitment to continuously and constantly improved in a disciplined manner. Because if we can have the best things out in the world, and the best tools, the best people, but if we don't learn from our mistakes and implement and become better, like it's not going to end well for us. It does not help the organization or the customers or the employees or the leadership grow and make progress in any way. So this is one of those core things that really need to be implemented to make sure your company grows and survives, not only grows.
What have you found as you've been working through this with Amtech? And again, inside of your own Jay Patel operating system, what have you found? I don't know. Have you found there's been a surprising amount of frustration in this point, or it's taken longer to do this, or if I could have known this when I started, I would have given that different attention. Like, what are the pitfalls or the obstacles that we might not realize we might stub our toe on in this whole thing?
Developing the discipline and creating resources to collect the data. Sometimes when we're in a mode where we need to ship quality product now, there's a lot of other factors that play into that. Sometimes looking and observing and obtaining quality data that is actionable sometimes gets put onto the wayside. So prioritizing that, creating importance of that, allowing for resources to do that, will really unlock our ability and anybody's ability to really grow. If we don't have data, if we don't have anything like that, I don't think we'll be playing a reactionary game. And I played the reactionary game, and it's not a very fun game. It doesn't get you very far.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
The plan, do, study, act is replaced with do.
Yeah. Or just act. Not even So or react. So
yeah. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech, and I love this conversation, and I'm as we continue to go, I'm paying more and more attention of where Deming put each step in the process, and how you came back to, even in this one, you have to have that sort of culture of constant improvement. It's obvious why we started there, as now we're leading into this one. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.